Shut your damn mouth, Daryl! Hi, my name is Dr. Dandy Randy, owner and proprietor of Dr. Dandy Randy's Discount Surgery Emporium and Crematorium. With over 30 years of medical school under my belt and a doctorate in spirituality from the University of Phoenix, you can count on me for the best surgery $20 can buy. Now everyone always asks me, Doctor, where did you learn all this radical surgical know-how? Well, it's easy, you idiot! After I stole those old medical scrolls from the Metropolitan Museum of Art, I've been a veritable bastion of medical know-how no doctor would ever teach in today's enlightened colleges. Lucky for you, I'm not enlightened, or a medical doctor. That's why, today, I'll be sharing some of my favorite surgeries from the Middle Ages I like to perform on my customers. For your convenience, I've ranked each using a highly scientific formula based on difficulty, utility, style, and mouthfeel. Now, without any further ado, let's crack on with it. We're starting off with one of the easiest procedures on this list. Amputation. Much like today, medieval peasants usually went to their barber whenever they needed a haircut, a broken bone set, or an errant lump of flesh carved out of them. In the Middle Ages, there were no specialized doctors acting as surgeons. Instead, it was up to the humble barber-surgeon to handle everything from trimming your locks to bad kidney rocks. Renowned the land over for his knife-having abilities, the barber-surgeon was a skilled and respected tradesman who could be found anywhere from the sticks out yonder to the royal court. His many skills include dentistry, bloodletting, midwifery, optometry, and being a good friend. Which is why you can often tell his shop by the strung-up rows of teeth hanging in the windows, and the freshly harvested bowl of blood set out on the sill. Advertisements were a lot more interesting back then. Amputation was usually reserved for the worst-case scenarios, like when a limb's become gangrenous and it's spreading. Oh yikes, look at that haunch. Let's ask our old friend and famed surgeon, Henri de Monville, what he'd do. Oh, Henri! Hey, what's up? Oh yeah, this haunch is real bad. See that rise in color? If it reaches the mid-thigh, she's a goner. As no other treatment has worked, we're looking at a knee disarticulation to save your life. Ma'am, I'm sorry. You better be, bitch-ass punk! Shut up. I'm about to sound very knowledgeable. First, wrap the healthy flesh above and below the knee with cord. Tightly, then elevate it to reduce blood loss. The knife must be heated white hot, both to cauterize the wound and to speed up the procedure. It's not so difficult, amputation, and we must avoid any undue suffering. And done. How do you feel, ma'am? Oh, much better, actually. Nice. Now drink plenty of red wine of the best quality you can find, and you'll be better in no time. Thanks. How much will this cost? Oh, about an arm and a leg. Thank you. That was Royal Surgeon Henri de Monville. You can pick up his book, Chirurgia, at select monasteries near you. Now, on to the rating. Good old amputation. Can't go wrong with that. Easy enough that any old idiot could do it and superbly useful in almost any situation. I think I'll give it an 8 out of 10 for utility and a 9 out of 10 for difficulty. However, I gotta say it is a little limiting style-wise. I'll give it a 2 stars out of 5. Mouthfeel-wise, you'll likely get notes of blood, burnt, and necrotic tissue. Absolutely disgusting. 0 points. Now I've just gotta slot these numbers into my calculator and... well... We'll certainly be starting off strong, but the data doesn't lie. That's why I'm giving amputation our very first A tier. Congratulations, you've earned it. Roughly 7,000 years ago, in 5000 BCE, a primordial man named Ugg Stonefist was having a killer headache. It felt like there was a demon in his head. There's a demon in your head, said Ugg's friend, Josh Hutcherson. Hold still. Okay. And so, the surgical procedure of scraping a hole into someone's skull with a sharp rock, also known as trepanning, was born. It could have been around for a lot longer, but 5000 BCE was the earliest date scientists found a skull with a big deliberate hole drilled into it. This makes trepanning the oldest known surgery. Back in the day, trepanation was used for everything, from relieving pressure built up in the skull after an injury to releasing evil demons if the person had been acting all weird-like. The procedure was surprisingly survivable. For example, archaeologists once found some skulls with big ol' holes drilled into them in southwestern Germany, dated back to the 6th to 8th centuries. Out of 8 skulls, 7 showed signs of healing and survival. Trepanning was all the rage back in the day and continued to be popular all the way into the 16th century. Prince Philip of Orange had the procedure done 17 times, and one fella even had 52 holes drilled into his head over a 2-month period. I don't know if this meant people just wore hats more often or if they were walking around with a piece of their brain exposed, but boy do I hope it's that last one. Here's a fun fact for you. Did you know the last recorded trepanation happened as early as 1965? It's true. A Dutch librarian named Bart Hughes performed the procedure on himself using a foot-operated power drill. Hughes survived the procedure and died in 2004 at the age of 70. Don't worry though, because Hughes almost became a medical doctor. The only reason he didn't get a medical degree was because he loved LSD and named his daughter Maria Juana. Anyway, let's rate this thing. So, there's not a lot of evidence that trepanning actually works. But, on the other hand, millions of people across history can't be wrong. That's why I'm giving trepanning a 5 stars out of 5 stars for utility. Difficulty-wise, there's nothing easier than scraping a hole into someone's skull. All you need is a power drill like Hughes or a sharp spoon like in my own clinic. 7 out of 9. Style-wise, you can't deny that some of these designs are straight fire. I'm not a fan of how permanent they are, but Hakuna Matata, you know? That's a 79% approval rating for me. Finally, mouthfeel-wise. Just imagine running your tongue along and down into someone's brain hole. Absolutely revolting. Negative 20 points all around. Now, time to fill in all these fields and add up the results. Huh. Well, that's quite interesting indeed. Considering these results, I'll have to give it our very first S rank. Congratulations, you've earned it. In the good old days before humanity was corrupted by the evils of condoms and antibiotics, STIs like gonorrhea and syphilis were all the rage. While stylish, infections like gonorrhea could also lead to painful swelling in the urethra, occasionally making it impossible to urinate. What a bother! Lucky for them, Greeks way back in 3500 BCE had the same problem. Their solution? Say, Acacius, can I stick this rolled up palm leaf up your urethra and all the way into your bladder? Yeah, okay. And so the catheter was born. These took on a ton of different forms throughout history, depending on what was trendy at the time. I remember when catheters were made of straw, lead, or the hollow tops of onions. At my shop, you'll get to customize your own catheter, and keep it too, for a modest fee. Personally, my favorite is the medieval catheter, which is a rigid silver straw that in no way compensates for the curved urethra. Used almost exclusively on men, the procedure involved gently shoving the sharp instrument up the urethra and all the way into the bladder. Surprisingly, this was incredibly painful, so patients were often sedated with a cocktail of alcohol and opioids. Now, I know what you're thinking. How boring! Fret not, there are a lot more creative things you could do with a metal catheter. For example, did you know they could cure kidney stones in a pinch? It's easy. First, be in possession of a penis and attached urinary tract. Now, all you have to do is lie on your stomach with your legs tied to your neck. Don't worry, my assistant will hold you down. I forgot to mention, obviously, you've already inserted your catheter all the way into your bladder. Next, I'd grip your catheter like a kebab stick and start blindly prodding around your bladder, trying to feel out that pesky stone. In just 30 minutes or so, I'm able to jostle the sharp rock down your tubes and all the way out with only a bit of blinding agony. Easy as that. Now, let's rate this thing. Because it takes a gentle touch to administer the catheter, I'm gonna say it's about middle level difficulty. And although catheters are pretty useful, you're going to need a pretty serious STI or a kidney stone to get much use out of it. I guess it could make a pretty snazzy straw. 4 stars. I do like how medieval catheters are made out of silver, that's pretty stylish. However, you're going to have some trouble getting it seen if you're wearing jorts. And I've had to loudly announce that I'm wearing a catheter for people to finally catch on. That's going to be a 3 out of 50 for me. Finally, mouthfeel. I mean, it's probably going to be covered in pus, blood, and urine, and you'll have to deep throat it, obviously, to sample all the juices in an immersive way. This is extremely dangerous, and I would never recommend it. I mean, seriously, this is probably the worst one yet. Mouthfeel-wise, I'd have to disqualify this. Even still, I'm going to slot the results into my government supercomputer just in case. Oh, my god, that's incredible. Now, this supercomputer would never lie, which is why I'm confident in giving metal catheters this show's very first Omega rank. Congratulations, you've earned it. Once upon a time in the mythical land of 7th century Ireland, there lived a dude named Saint Fiacre, and he was very famous for being the patron saint of hemorrhoid sufferers. Hemorrhoids are basically what happens when veins and blood vessels around your butthole get swollen and irritated. Wipe and find blood? Congratulations, you've just been initiated into the Order of Saint Fiacre. Anyway, Fiacre was known for being a cool guy. So cool that crowds of devotees and followers swarmed to his monastery. "We love you," they probably said. Not wanting to deal with any of that, Saint Fiacre snuck out of his monastery and fled to France, where he immediately went into the woods and lived in solitude for the rest of his days. The end. What's important is that somewhere along the way, Saint Fiacre developed a nasty case of hemorrhoids, probably from working hard in the field. The fact made him sad, so he sat on a rock. Wait, what was that tingling sensation? Why, by divine providence, Saint Fiacre's butthole was cured! And it's all because of the hemorrhoid-curing rock he sat on. And so the tale of the hemorrhoid-curing rock spread across the land, bringing back hemorrhoid-ridden masses crazy over those cool rocks. Thing was, nobody knew which rock Fiacre sat on. So, naturally, everyone took home a different rock and began yelling that theirs was a special hemorrhoid-curing one. Meanwhile, learned doctor folk believed hemorrhoids were caused by being engorged with blood and came up with their own special miracle cure. It even involved another special rock. A long, cylindrical rock made with iron and heated until white hot, then placed directly onto or inside the butthole. Funny thing is, most hemorrhoids go away with time anyway. No need to brand your sensitive bits, you silly goose, no matter how itchy they might be. It's very easy to cure your hemorrhoids by sitting on a special rock. Thing is, we don't know which rock is the right one, meaning you'd have to travel across Ireland exposing your butthole to multiple minerals so soaked with E. coli they'd give Osmosis Jones a nucleus attack. That's a 46% for utility and just over 16% for difficulty. Now, style. I'm sorry guys, I just don't find rocks that stylish. I'm voting style off the island. Finally, mouthfeel. Because who wouldn't love licking an ancient rock stained by countless buttholes? No one! Because that would be insane! There's almost certainly no way St. Fiacre's rock would survive its abysmal mouthfeel rating. Even still, I've compacted the ratings into an edible pellet, fed it to the Asian palm civet I bought off an illegal wildlife trader, brewed coffee from the resulting feces, and drank it down. Now, to wait for the coffee's psychedelic properties to kick in. And then I'm standing, naked, atop a jagged spire of obsidian. Below me, a dark forest sprawls, unseen, forgotten. Above, a black and violent sky. And it's raining. Raining. Buckets and buckets of this black, heavy water. It comes not from heaven, but someplace stranger. The rain blackens plant life, withers the obsidian I stand on. It burns as it touches my skin, my flesh curdling. I can feel it penetrate my skin, slip into my bloodstream and nervous system. What do you want from me? And then it's over, with nothing to prove anything happened at all, except for a shitty aftertaste and a message seared into my frontal lobe. Why, ladies and gentlemen, the faceless outer beings I think I just communed with have made up their minds, and I can't disobey. They've just given St. Fierger's Rock this show's very first and probably only God tier. Congratulations, you've earned it. That's all of them. That's all the surgeries. There was, or ever will be. But, tell you what, when the next surgery DLC drops at the Met, I'll make an update.